Hey guys, if you can relate to this, you're working on your game and yet another thing bugs out and you just can't take it anymore and you're just like... then I have something that might just help you. Game dev is hard, and it's harder if you rage break your computer. So I have a very simple work method that I've been using for the last couple of months, and it has dramatically made my workday feel easier. And it can be hard to know what you should be working on. New features, polish, sound, music, effects, bug fixing, UI, etc, etc. There are so many things that need to be done as an indie game developer. And I know that there are certain models out there that corporations use for software development that are systematic and proven to be productive. For example, the waterfall method or the agile model. There are even some that are specifically made for game developers. For example, the spiral model. But indie development is different. And I'm not even saying that those models won't work for indie developers. They actually seem really well thought out and very helpful. But there is that stress element that these models do not take into account. When you are working on your own game, whether you're solo or working with a small team, it would be good and even healthy if you were able to just produce work and not worry about the end result so much, and not worry about your reputation or what people think about you or the need to prove yourself, or that some people, maybe even people that are really close to you, feel like you're wasting your life away on something that is childish. But at least for me right now, I cannot do that. My whole identity is tied in with my game, particularly with Veil of Maya, which is my long-term dream game. And at the time of writing this script, we just announced Samurado, which is our 90-day challenge game. And I don't even know how I feel about that game yet because I haven't even started it. We are signed up for Next Fest in June. This is a commercial game that we are making in 90 days, and we have some really fun plans for this game. And if controlling a samurai wielding avocado sounds fun to you, then go give it a wish list to show your support. We really appreciate it. By the way, I'm not saying do what I do. The more that you can separate yourself from the game that you're working on, the more mentally healthy you are going to be while you are working on that game. I'm just telling you that that is where I'm at right now. So these cold business models with these ugly boxes and arrows that trigger my PTSD from taking marketing in college, they're missing all of this. They're missing this stress element. Your stress level matters. Your motivation level in terms of how productive you will be when you are working on your game matters. Your mood matters. And how you feel about your game matters. And so I created what I call the staircase method. Yeah, see? I can make ugly diagrams too. Go ahead and give this video a like if you love that ugly diagram. Seriously though, I call it the holy why won't it work method. I'm sorry, I'm done. I don't actually have a name for it. But what it does is it helps you to deal with all of the things in your game that you absolutely hate. And I know you have some of those things. That's not true. Actually, I don't even know a thing about you. I'm just assuming because with my game, even though it's really fun and it's really juicy right now, there are so many things about it that cause me huge levels of stress. And maybe this is just a personal thing for me, but my brain is always screaming at me to make progress. And I think sometimes maybe having a YouTube channel can add to that a little bit because I feel like I constantly need to be churning out new features, new mechanics, new levels, new things to show off. And that's not always a good way to work because things that shouldn't get left end up getting left for later. And when you do that enough, everything starts to feel like it's a mess. If you feel like the game that you're making is a house of cards and the slightest little thing could come along and make it all come crashing down, then you might just need to implement this method, okay? I have mentioned this idea to several other developers that I really respect, and they all loved the idea and wanted to try it. It's very simple. First, you start by making a list of everything that you hate about your game right now. Every single little thing that causes you stress. Maybe some things that you've been too afraid to touch because they seem like a nightmare to dig into. Those things, write them all down. We'll call this our list of things that are. Next, you are going to halt production and stop working on whatever it is that you're working on in your game, unless it is something that is on that list. Because you know what I'm going to say next, right? You have to deal with that list. It's not fun. It kind of sucks, but pick one thing on that list that you think you can handle and get it done. If you've seen our latest Veil of Maya devlog, there's a line where I say I kind of just snapped and I couldn't take it anymore. I kind of just snapped. That is the point where I switched from trying to implement new stuff and more new stuff to this method of dealing with my list of things that are. I wrote down a list of things that were causing me stress that I really wanted fixed, but had been avoiding fixing. And I just started working my way through that list one item at a time. And I gotta tell you, it lifted a huge weight off my shoulders. I'm not done, and I keep on thinking of new things to add to that list, but I will be putting most of my focus back on getting that list done once I'm back to working on Veil of Maya. For Samurado, which right now, as I'm recording, I haven't started yet, I do not plan on letting that list get more than 1 line long because I plan on dealing with the stuff that I hate right off the bat. So let me tell you why I think this will help you so much. For me, it all boils down to my mental state. Everything on my list was a list of things that were making me feel like a crappy developer, or just like I didn't know what I was doing. Tackling that list is making me feel like, okay, I can actually do this. There is a book, and it's not for game developers specifically, it's for entrepreneurs, which is a part of indie game dev, by the way, and it's called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy, and it's a really deep dive into this very topic, and it explains it all way better than I can. I'll leave a link for the book down in the description below if you want to help support the channel, but the premise is that the frog is your most crucial task that you are most likely to try to avoid, and you want to tackle that frog first. Get the worst thing out of the way right away. And if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense, because if you let your list of things that are build and build and build while you're working on your game, mentally you are creating a mountain that you have to climb over, and the bigger you let this list grow, the bigger that mountain is going to seem to you. So eat that frog, do your most crucial thing first, handle your list of things that are That's all I got, guys. Let me know what helps you down in the comments below. If you want to support us, then give this video a like so that YouTube knows to share this video with more people, and if you really want to support the channel, then you can do so on our Patreon. Speaking of which, I want to thank all of our generous Patreon supporters: Jakub Yandok, Zondra Kessler, Darren Perrine, Throbbing Wind, Fontaine Wade, Couch, Zyoma, and Ken Wade. Head on over to our Patreon page if you want early access to our videos, monthly alpha builds, and more.